everyone. We just like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Sweat with Beck, New York-based personal trainer and holistic health coach. You can visit sweatwithbecknyc.com. I am Alli, and this is Dani.
Hey! Hi, everybody.
And we've always got Lily.
Yep, she's always here.
Our third wheel. And we're going to be having a chat today about pregnancy, motherhood, getting pregnant after a reality show. I think you and I have probably both had the biggest years of our lives, Dani.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy.
And just as a shout out to breastfeeding month, it was breastfeed week last week. That's what we're doing right now. So normalize breastfeeding at work.
Yes, I love that. That's so cute. Well, I mean, you and I, just in case some of our listeners don't know, you and I are in very different stages of where we're at with motherhood. I am 33 weeks pregnant now. And Dani, how old is Lily now?
Lily's 10 weeks tomorrow. And I know, like, I hate it when people were like, my baby's, 27 weeks today. Like, she's gonna be 3 months at the end of the month.
That's like,
to make it easier.
You know, when you're a teenager and you get your first boyfriend, you're like, we've been together for 53 weeks now.
Yeah.
You count, like, we're having our 6-month anniversary.
I know. It's the same when people go like, my baby's 18 months old. I'm like, no, your baby's a year and a half. Why don't you say like that?
Just relax.
Yeah.
I think you and I are similar. Like, Dani and I have talked so much about our journeys because we've supported each other through this time. And yeah, you and I have talked a lot about what type of mums we are. And I think we're a little bit more laid back. There's like all these categories. There's some that just go hard at it, I feel like. I went to Baby Bunting, which is like a baby superstore in Australia. And every lady that worked there was like, and this person and then this person had this experience and then this, and they're like pouring out their hearts of their stories and their love for their grandchildren and their children and what sort of labor they had. And Benny and I are standing there going, oh, really? Oh, cute. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm not as enthusiastic, I think, about like some mums can be.
I completely relate to that. It's like when I was pregnant and people would, obviously I was working until 3 days before I gave birth, and people was like, oh my god, you're pregnant, your baby's so big, I can't wait, I'm gonna have a baby. And I was like, yeah, I am, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to this podcast is about being real, so we're going to be really real here. So both of our pregnancies were accidental, and I want to share this story about, because you and I will have very different stories about our experiences finding out we're pregnant. So I'm just going to quickly share sort of what happened with myself. I'm in a relationship with my partner Benny. We basically fell pregnant pretty much the first time we had sex, when we got together, like legitimately.
Oh my god.
I know, it's crazy. Like, we got together, so we've been friends for 12 years. We know each other very well, and over New Year's, I flew up to where he lives, which he's in a different state. He's up in Queensland and I'm down in Victoria. So I flew up to where he lives. We fell madly in love. You know, we've always sort of had like a spark with each other, but because we were friends, it was unspoken. And I don't know, it just kind of worked this time. And so I'm due at the end of September. We got together over New Year's, so I mean the maths kind of adds up. It's basically, I didn't sleep with him the minute we got together, so basically the first time we had sex, I think I fell pregnant. But it was obviously such a shock for us because we know each other so well, but we haven't been in a relationship for long. So basically I've been pregnant the entire time we've been together, so he only knows pregnant me, which I feel sorry for him about that, because it's like pregnant you is not always the best version of you. But when it came down to us coming to our decision, we basically decided to go away, think about it separately. We were living in different cities, so we got lots of space to do that. And then I went up to visit him, and we came together and we said, all right, what have you decided? Basically, that's how it works. So we were actually swimming in the ocean, which was kind of poetic. And I said, you go first. Like, we looked at each other and we were like, I don't want to be the first to say it. I'm like, you go first, you have to go first. And he was like, we're doing this, aren't we? And I said, yeah, we are. And that was our like magical little moment of deciding that we were going to have our little man, because I'm having a boy. If everyone hasn't found out yet, I'm having a little boy. But yeah, that was my experience. Dani, I know you've had a very different experience, and you've talked about enough of the JL side of it, but I just want to know sort of more about you personally, what was going through your head. Dani's just got her hands full with single mum life.
I do, sorry.
Just doing a little swap over.
I know. It's very hard to predict when Lily, obviously she's very young, so she doesn't have a proper schedule yet. She can't, we can't tell when she's sleep exactly or when she's feeding exactly. So it's hard to organize the podcast and everything. But we were trying. We getting there.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, obviously I wanted to be a mom one day. As you can see that I said, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times during this show, but obviously they play it out many, many times during the season. It sounds like I'm saying that every 5 seconds. So I had decided that if I did, me and my best friend, we both don't have kids and we both really want to be a mom. And we decided, like, if we ever get pregnant after 30, we're just going to go ahead with it. We're not going to, it is what it is. And, after 30, we already, adults and grown-ups. So it's like, why not? So when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, well, I'm keeping it. There's no other way for me. So just need to figure out what I'm going to do about everything else. Because, the baby's going to be here. So
yeah.
how I'm going to do this?
And then what?
Yeah, literally. It's like when you give birth and they put the baby on your chest and you're like, okay, then what?
I am yet to experience that moment, but I feel like I would be in the exact same headspace.
I know. It's, but as we said, it was an accident, but it doesn't mean that she's not wanted. Like, I always want to be a mom.
Absolutely.
And she's the most precious little baby. Like every mom would say about their own baby.
Yeah. No matter how cute or not cute they look when they come out, they're still the apple of mum's eye.
And that's one thing that we, keeping things real as well, like about birth and stuff. As we say, we're not that exciting mom. There's like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. This is so amazing.
So magical.
So I know. I feel the magic grow inside of me.
I've been throwing up all night. I don't feel magical right now, okay?
Well, nothing wrong with the moms that feel that way,
Yeah, not at all. I'd love to be like that positive headspace.
Same.
I love that. Give me some of that, but I'm not. I'm cynical.
I think this is mostly also when people like actually planned and they have everything ready for it and they have, they married and they have the family around and they do the big review and it's so exciting. And, unfortunately, I would love to have that, but it just didn't happen. Yeah. But during birth, people say when the baby's born, you feel the love and you feel all of that. And it's just a magical moment and you forget the pain straight away. No, I did not forget the pain up to this day.
Oh,
just so you know. So during labor, I had my mom, my best friend on a video call. So they were watching everything. And I had the manager from the clinic I work at. She's amazing. So she was there with me. And everybody was crying. And I wasn't crying. Like, even when they put Lily on my chest, I was like, oh my God, I think I was more in shock than anything. I was like, oh my God, this little human just came out of my, my vagina. I was going to say my belly, but she didn't come out of my belly. She came out of my vagina.
She just shoots out my belly button, just out the sunroof.
That would probably be better. Anyways. I didn't have that overwhelming, like, crying things, like, oh my god, I'm so overcome with emotions. You know, I think everybody's different, and I feel like sometimes people make you feel guilty that you don't feel all those feels. It's like, oh, what kind of mom are you? You didn't feel that overwhelming love, that you thought that there was no other love in the world apart from the one with your baby right now. It's like, not really. You know, obviously I loved Lily from the moment I saw her, and you know, loved her much before when she was in my belly, but I feel like now, in the last 2 weeks or so, I'm finally on that stage that I looked at her face and I was like, I started crying because I was like, oh my god, I made this little baby. She's so perfect and she's smiling at me right now. You know? So now I'm on that stage, but it just took me a little to get there.
Yeah, I think that's another... It's becoming a bit, not that I have been in this world for very long. Hey Lily. Anyone watching on YouTube, you're getting some really good sights of Lily right now.
She's just chilling there now.
But yeah, it can be a little bit of a taboo topic is to talk about postnatal depression, and that's for sure been my biggest fear through... that was one of my concerns when I was making my decision of going through with the pregnancy or not. And I know that, you know, it's another taboo topic is talking about whether you have a choice. I am a pro-choice type of person, and that's why for me, when I felt pregnant, I felt like I needed to make a choice. I'm
100% pro-choice as well. Like, I believe in that's probably a bad thing to say, but what I mean with that is that we are responsible for our own choices.
Yeah.
So I feel like, just really quick on that subject, like places and countries and states that are not pro-choice, what they do is risking woman's life. And you know, and it's everybody's like pro-life until you have a baby, and it's like, who's gonna help that woman take care of the baby?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that baby needs to have the opportunities that, just the basic opportunities that every child needs to be able to flourish and grow. And we're not a political podcast, like we're not here to talk about the deep dark issues of the world, but that's sort of just mine and Dani's stance on it, and that's why we both, for us, it was a decision we were making. Falling pregnant accidentally was a decision. So and part of my decision, I thought about it for quite a good period of time. I did feel the time crunch on it, and I found out very, very, very early that I was pregnant because I was on the pill, so you can kind of gauge when something's not right. And a big part of my thought process was postnatal depression. Am I going to survive that? That's really scary to me. And my mum and my sister have both gone through postnatal depression with all their kids. I've experienced anxiety and depression in my life, so I felt really, I felt like that was a really big part of my thought process, to think mentally, can I handle that? Because if I do fall into that, I don't know if I can give the best part of me to my partner and my baby. I don't know if I can, and that's something that women sort of try and keep more private, but we're here to keep things real, and that's something that was a very real worry and concern for me. Another thing for me, I've also had agoraphobia, mild agoraphobia. I went through that only a few years ago, and for anyone who isn't aware, that's a fear of going outside. So that was another thing, because you kind of like put yourself, like Dani, that's what you're dealing with right now. You're in lockdown, you're like next level, but you're putting yourself in this little world with this little bubby, and it's just you in your little safe little cocoon. And for me, that sounds really, really safe. So, I mean, that could be something that could be triggered in my brain. I don't know these things. But yeah. I did actually I've had many conversations with my midwives and with the hospital, and I've even called Panda, the support group that helps.
Panda is amazing, guys.
Yes. I've just been learning through, as as my hormones have been going up and down, and I'm starting to get a little bit scared as like everything's coming closer. But Panda are amazing. They said, you know what, because you have experienced depression in your life, you're probably going to be less likely to experience postnatal depression because you can see those red flags from very, very early on and you can act on it. And I was like, oh my God, who would have thought having had depression before would be beneficial to me? But yeah, that's just one of those things that was totally part of my, and it's something I'm very aware of as I'm going through my hormonal changes. I'm like, okay, this is not, the way I'm feeling right now is not truly me. I'm psychotically hormonal right now.
Yeah. No, it's a shame that it's still such a big thing talking about it, you know. It shouldn't be, because it's just much more common than people know. And I know moms support each other, but I think people need to remember that when a person becomes a mom, it's not only about the baby, checking on the baby. You need to check on the mom as well, because the mom needs to be well to take care of the baby.
Yeah, so true.
So spoil the mom as well. Give mom gifts as well, you know? Bring food.
Yeah, pre-made meals. I've heard that's like a godsend.
I'm still on the pre-made meals. I still have no time to cook, so I just using different services. Because because I was a whole month eating the same meal service. And by the end of the month, I was like, oh my God, I just can't look at this anymore.
Can't even smell it anymore.
No. Oh, it was horrendous. But thank God for that, because, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of food, there was another topic that I actually mentioned to you, Dani, that I thought might be interesting to bring up, because people will probably have many, many opinions on it, and I'm sure I'm going to be flooded with DMs after this, but raising your children as vegans, that's a conversation that Benny and I have been having quite a lot, because I'm vegan and I'm vegan from a moral perspective. So it's something that it's almost a non-negotiable in my mind. Like, why would I bring a child into this world who's going to be a consumer of something that I disbelieve in so strongly? And my best friend is actually raising her baby vegan, so I've had lots of conversations with her. But Benny is a meat eater, so we're sort of at this negotiating place where he's like, okay, what about we raise the baby not eating meat, but he'll still have dairy and eggs? I'm like, I mean, the dairy industry and the egg industry is both, like, it's still not morally right. So I'm in this, like, really strange moral dilemma with that, where I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to raise my child eating meat. Absolutely no way I'm going to feed flesh to my child, because I don't think that you have to raise your children. Like, we've all been brainwashed to think that eating meat is the norm and then you make a decision, but I'm going to do it the opposite way. I'm going to say not eating meat is the norm, and then he can make the decision when he is ready to. He is more than welcome to go against that. That's my child's prerogative. I'm more than supportive. But as long as he's educated and he understands the industries that he's supporting, then absolutely, if he decides he wants to eat meat. But why should I start him off as a meat eater? So I think that there'd be a lot of opinions rolling around in the podcast world right now. So, like I said before,
I know you're so passionate about it. It's so cute. And honestly, I totally get why you're vegan, and I completely understand. And I've been trying myself to reduce the amount of animal protein I eat. I don't eat dairy, not because it's just everything I read about how milk comes to be, like cow's milk. It's disgusting. You know, not only the animal, side of things, but it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
So I'm not eating dairy at the moment. I ate during my pregnancy just so Lily could be exposed to it, because I didn't want her to be allergic to it or anything. Which, by the way, there is no proof that whatever you eat, they won't be allergic to it. But I just did it anyway so she can have a little bit. But I don't eat dairy. I don't eat red meat more than once a week and stuff like that. Obviously, it's still very little, but it's something. But yeah, Yeah, that's interesting.
And it's hard. Like, I mean, Dani, you and I have actually said before that sometimes it might almost be easier to be a single mom because you're making all these decisions on your own. Like, if you believe something that is best for your child, that's what your child's going to get because that's what you believe. But I've got another person who is an amazing supporter. He's incredibly understanding and he's incredibly open, but he does have a bit of a different opinion. And he doesn't push me. He's really good about it. He doesn't push anything on me, but he wants me to be open to the idea of being our baby being vegetarian and not vegan. So it's just, I mean, like we said before, you and I have got such different experiences that we're having with pregnancy and motherhood coming up. And I'm doing it with someone else. And sometimes you got to do some compromising. Sometimes it's compromising you don't want to do.
We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Sweat with Beck, New York-based personal trainer and holistic wellness coach, and her signature range of booty bands.
Being in my third trimester in a lockdown, I've been using Beck's booty bands, which are amazing to keep active with a low impact workout.
Yeah, Alli, just being a single mom, it's really hard to find time. So have just a quick banded workout is perfect for my lifestyle.
You can shop the Sweat with Beck booty bands at sweatwithbecknyc.com. And don't forget to check out her IG, Sweat with Beck, for tons of free workouts. Now back to the podcast.
So on that topic as well, Alli, that is so true. That that's how I, the positives of looking at it, being just me as a parent, making decisions at the moment. It is much easier because being in a relationship is already hard.
Yeah.
Making decisions about another human when you are in a relationship, it must be really hard as well.
Yeah.
So I don't have to discuss anything with anybody, And if I say something, people are like, oh, but that's not. And I was like, well, that's my problem, isn't it? When you have your babies, you raise the way you want.
Exactly. Mom shaming is a thing and it's not okay.
So many, sometimes I get some messages that are like, people don't even say hi. They're just like, oh, I hope you're not doing this with your baby. It's like, hi, how are you? We're all good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
And thanks for your input. I really appreciate it. Weirdo.
I know, I've gotten the same thing with, I hope that you're not doing this during pregnancy, or it's just, even I put up a photo on my Instagram of me doing yoga and people are like, I hope that you're not telling people to do this position. I'm like, oh, please just relax a little. We're all doing our best.
And don't get me wrong. I love reading all the messages that people send me. People share their stories with me and it's absolutely amazing. It helps me so much. And if you do have something to say, by all means say it, but at least starting asking, hi, introduce yourself maybe, say, how are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I love learning from other people, and that's how you learn, with different opinions and different points of view. But, just say something before, don't just go like, I hope you're not doing this.
Yeah, because it comes across a bit judgy, but Dani and I are super blessed to have this community that we've got from doing Below Deck and the following that we've got, and it's been awesome. I ask my followers everything. I'm like, tell me what's your favorite brand of cot, or I'm like, tell me what you think about XYZ. I'm super curious. I want to know what my community is saying, and everyone is so 99% of the feedback that I get and the conversations that I have been receiving are really, really interesting and informative, and I love that. It's just when it comes across as it's kind of like a jabby insult. It's I'm pointing my finger at you and I'm judging you, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's exactly how I read it when people don't say anything. They just say that. It's like, I hope you're not doing this. But I love our community as well. I ask so many questions. I bought my PC because I asked questions. I checked for pumps, and whatever I'm in doubt about something and I want to know people's opinion, I just put on my Instagram, and then people will...
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like we have really, really nice followers as well. Like, I love some of the people that I see their names coming through on my comments. Like, Dani and I try and reply to our photo comments nearly all the time, as much as we can, and DMs are I found my DMs quite hard to keep up with, because they kind of, once they get to a certain number, they disappear. So if I haven't looked at them for a little bit, then I've lost half of them. But I try my best to keep interactive, and some of the people are just absolute angels. I just love hearing their support and their continued support. Like, their opinions are really valuable to me, and that's the benefit of having the community that we've got.
100%. I absolutely love that, people. And just while we're on this topic, Alli, what did you think, like, let's say 5 years ago, even? I'm not even gonna go as far as 10 years ago, but 5 years ago, where did you think your life would be now?
Okay, how old am I? I've just turned 33, so I would have been 28. Oh my god, I think 5 years ago was around when I got into yachting, I think. Yeah, that's about 5 years ago for me. So I was on this path. This is where my head was at. I was already diving then, and I was working at a scuba diving company that I still work for now. And I was just getting in, like, I really wanted to get on the boats, because my absolute dream for my life was to crew on Sea Shepherd. And if anyone doesn't know who Sea Shepherd are, they're a marine conservation society. They do a lot of campaigning, and they're really famous for their anti-whaling campaigns. So I was like, I'm going on Sea Shepherd. That is my dream. That is like my life's purpose. I was born for this. So 5 years later, I've still been working towards that goal. I've been, getting as many skills as I can, so that I can contribute the best part of me to the campaigns. And now that I'm pregnant and I'm with a partner, I'm like, wow, Sea Shepherd's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm going to have to put that one off, because you'll be out at sea with like, you only get, because there's a lot of media coverage with Sea Shepherd, they're quite well known, you actually don't get much interaction with your loved ones at home. Once they have a baby come along, and not being able to see him or kiss him or cuddle him or even FaceTime with him or find out how he's going other than an email once a day, that will be hard. So, yeah. Plans change, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be doing it. A Sea Shepherd is still on, like, I've done a lot of onshore volunteer work, but it's still to campaign with them. That's still on the cards for me. But I've watched my mum, and the way that she has done her, my mum would be, I think she's, late 50s now, or 60s. I'm so bad that I don't know how old she is. But I've watched my mum change career. I've watched my mum achieve her goals. I've watched my mum go to India and take a vow of silence in an ashram for months at a time. Like amazing things. And that's the type of person that I'm going to be in my life. And I always have been. I'm like, just because I'm going to be a mum doesn't mean my dreams stop there. What about you, Dani? Please hold. Please stand by. Dani is just getting Lily.
Your call, it's very important to us.
We understand your time is valuable. People who are watching on YouTube are getting a really good insight into motherhood right now. I'll keep going with the next topic. So we had a few things that we were sort of looking at covering, and then we can come back to Dani, to that question for Dani. But one thing that I went and did yesterday was I went to the doctor, and I actually inquired about getting the COVID vaccination while pregnant. So another thing that I would really be curious to hear about from any pregnant women who have been thinking or have gone and got the COVID vaccine. How did you come to the decision? What did you consider? I would love to hear your feedback, because for me, I went in there and I was like, I'm definitely going to get it. I just want to be sure that I have all my information it's such a big decision. So when I went to my doctor, she said, look, to be honest, we can't give you the reassurance that you're asking for because it's such a new thing. They don't have long-term studies of pregnant women getting the vaccine. And she also said, correct me if I'm wrong, because this was information she gave me, but she also did say that they can't prove that the antibodies are going to be passed on to the baby. So my whole purpose of being vaccinated while I'm pregnant was so that my baby would be vaccinated. You assume that it would just work the same, like the flu shot or the whooping cough shot. But she actually said it's actually not proven. They don't have that type of research because it's such a new thing. So I've left the doctor's office and I came home to Benny and I said, I don't think I want to do this. I think I want to wait. I think I want to wait till after I'm pregnant. After I give birth. And I mean, I'm still not sure. I have a very small window of time because I'm getting so far along in my pregnancy now, but I'm just really, I would love to hear from people and hear from everyone who has actually experienced this. I'm not so keen on hearing from the anti-vaxxers because I have got my decision made. I am pro-vaccinating. So, I mean, I'm always open to conversation, but I don't want to get into any debates right now about it, but definitely open to listening to some sort of other perspective from people. That would be really interesting for me. And I don't know if Dani, are you back now? No, she's not. No. Okay.
So just on the vaccine topic, I think I have a couple seconds now.
Okay, cool. I was curious to know your stance
I
on
was
this.
kind of, yeah, so I was, obviously I think we're all going to need vaccines to travel in the future and all of that. So I'm definitely want to take the shot. I want to do the vaccine, but I'm breastfeeding now and, it's not like I'm seeing a lot of people. And to be fair, even if I wanted to, the vaccine is not available for everybody yet, at least in my state.
Yeah.
They're still doing, priority people with any underlying conditions and all that.
Dani's just gone on mute. Stand by. Just to inform everyone, people who don't know, Dani's actually studying to be a nurse at the moment. So she's got a pretty good grasp on her understanding.
So I am just kind of waiting a little bit because on my state I can't really get the vaccine yet. It's still kind of like on the priority groups and all that. But if I was doing full-time nursing this semester, I would have to have it anyways for placement.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's mandatory that we have it. But because I'm only doing 2 subjects this semester and 2 on next one, I will have to have by next semester, but not right now. So yeah, I'm gonna wait a little bit just because of that. But if it was available for me, I would probably have it done now. Like anything to help us come out of this lockdown and just have a more normal life.
Yeah, because you and I are both in lockdown, but I'm in a 7-day lockdown and you're on week 4?
I don't even know. I think it's going to be 6 weeks total by the end of this month.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that they would, stop that and we can go back to a little bit normalcy. Normal, is that a word? Normal?
Yeah, normalcy is a word actually. Yeah.
But it's not looking good. The cases are just increasing. We don't have enough people vaccinated, and we shall see.
Yeah, it's a hard one because for Australia, there are a lot of people, they're going by age group and they're going by most vulnerable demographic, of course, but we don't have a lot of Pfizer available to us, so a lot of people that I know are waiting for Pfizer, and that's what Benny, actually my partner, he was waiting for Pfizer, but now he's like, screw this this is getting ridiculous, I'm just going to get AstraZeneca because I'm...
You know what the thing with AstraZeneca is? It's like the biggest risk is the blood clot, right? Mm-hmm. But the risk of blood clot with the vaccine, it's actually less than the pill.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. Because, with the pill, you do have the risk of blood clot as well and thrombosis. And the risk increases if you're a smoker. But that risk with the pill, it's higher than the risk with the vaccine. So we women have been dealing with this for a long, long time and nobody has done anything about it.
Yeah.
But now, because everybody's affected by that risk, it's like, no, we need to do something. Which, of course, you do. But it's just a comparison that it's okay for us to go through this risk forever. But now it's too much of a risk for people.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a hot topic in Australia at the moment.
I know. But we're not a political podcast, so let's talk about...
Yes, so moving on. I want to know your answer to the question you asked me before. 5 years ago, where did you think you would be in 5 years?
So 5 years ago, I was actually dating an Australian. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of pretty serious from the beginning. So 5 years ago, I did think I would be living in Australia. I thought I would have a baby. But I thought I would be married, and I thought I would be living in Perth, probably.
Perth? Why did you want to
Yeah, because that's where he's from.
Oh, okay. Right.
And his mom is amazing. She probably does not listen to this, but if she does, I miss her so much. She's such an amazing woman.
Shout-outs. Shout-outs.
Yeah, but I don't want to be the ex, that still hangs out with the family. Because that's annoying. I would hate that if I was his girlfriend, It's like,
he's got a girlfriend now.
He does. He looks pretty serious with her. He doesn't talk to me, by the way. If his girlfriend's listening to it, don't worry. He does not talking to me. Because she does not allow him talking to me.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember on our very first day filming Below Deck, our first day on Parsifal, you said... something about that to us. You came in when you were introducing yourself in our cabin. You're like, I can't remember what you said. You were like, my ex doesn't, his new girlfriend doesn't let me talk to him, and are you blocked or something? Did she make you?
Yeah, I'm blocked. He blocked me everywhere. WhatsApp, Instagram. Yeah.
I remember you telling this on the first day. How did that come up?
I don't know. That's weird. That's very weird.
I know.
But yeah, I'm still blocked.
Still blocked. Hashtag still blocked.
But it's actually funny because my life does look quite similar to what I thought it would be. Same but different.
Same but different, yeah. You're just on if there were 2 dimensions that were running parallel lines, you just...
Which they are.
Yeah, which they are. You're just...
Many dimensions.
Oh, here comes the nerd out of you, actually. I've awakened the nerd. Look out.
That is a dimension with every possibility, so...
We're just in this one, and this is what's happening, and Lily's here, and we are loving every minute of it.
Exactly. So just going back as well to... obviously this podcast today is about pregnancy and babies and all that. I have made a video about my birth story on my Instagram. So I talk about it in more detail. So if you guys want to know about it, go to my Instagram and have a look at the video. But very, very resume is I didn't want to take any drugs before. As soon as I started feeling pains, I wanted drugs. But there was no time for drugs. So
oh God.
That's it.
Yeah. I've asked you about this actually. Because I've gone in with... I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. I just want the epidural. Just give me the drugs. And now, since I've done my birthing classes, I'm like, maybe I should be open to a natural birth. But I'm not going to set myself in stone with anything. My birth plan is barely a birth plan. I'm like, this is what I hope would happen. But this is definitely something that I am open to. I am open to the drugs. I'm like, I don't know if I want to put myself through... Because I've heard there's such thing as, trauma, birth trauma that you can deal with. If you have such a horrible time, I'm like, man, there's enough going on. I don't need any birth trauma. I don't need to deal with that. If I need the drugs, then that's fine. And I mean, I'm one of those people. I was raised to not go to doctors. I was raised very holistically. you know, I look after my body from the inside out, not the outside in. I'm a strong believer in that. But when it comes to this birth plan, man, I am not going holistic unless I can. If I can, then, well, go me. I'll be impressed with myself.
Yeah, no, but that's the way to be with birth plan, you know. At the end of the day, it's your little baby who's going to decide what's going to happen. You don't want to have be so set on a birth plan that if something goes wrong, it just gives you more stress and more anxiety. You just need to know what your options are, know what you would like to happen, and then go from there. Yeah,
totally.
I mean, it is doable, natural. Many people do it, and I did it, but I would still prefer that if I had no pain. So
yeah, I've been one of the unlucky people that I've actually had Braxton Hicks contractions from the first trimester. So I've been getting little tastes of it this whole time, and that's what's kind of, now I've got this negative association with the feeling of the contractions, and I know that Braxton Hicks are nothing in comparison to what real labor is going to be, but I have just created this really negative interaction with it because I get really frustrated. Like, there's been times where I have had such bad contractions that I can't even walk down, like if I try and walk down the street, the contractions come on. I can barely walk at the moment. It's been pretty debilitating because I'm a very active person, and it's been very frustrating mentally. So that's sort of where I'm coming from when I'm like, give me the drugs.
Yeah. But no, 100%. Yeah. 100%. And
go ahead.
No, you go. Go ahead, Alli.
I sound like Glenn. Now, I wanted to know, for you, Dani, this is a really good question for you. What sort of life is Lily going to have in comparison to the childhood that you had? Because you're in a whole new country. You're living a whole different world.
So different. So different. And that's another reason why I really want to push with uni. And I didn't stop this semester, and I'm not going to stop until I'm finished with it. So I come from a very, very humble family. People ask me, do you have any baby pictures? And it's like, I don't, because back in the day, that was really expensive to take pictures. Oh. Remember that you need to buy a film and you need to reveal it. What do you call when you get the pictures?
Develop,
yeah. You need to develop the pictures and all that. And that cost money. Yeah. And you didn't even know if the pictures were going to be good anyways. Oh God. So very humble family. My mom was a single mom. I'm the eldest, and I have 2 younger brothers. So I spent most of my childhood taking care of them because my mom had to work, and always the eldest child ended up taking care of the oldest. So I used to, since I was 10 years old, I used to drop my brothers at daycare, and then I would go to school after. And then I used to pick them up from daycare, bring them home, cook some dinner sometimes, clean the house a little bit, and watch them until my mom got home. Oh, and wow. I did that until I left the house, you know. I did that until I was 18 or whatever.
Good practice.
I know. And that's why every time I tell people, I definitely want to be a mom, they're like, well, you don't really know what it is about. And I was like, yeah, I kind of know a little bit.
Got a little bit of a taste.
A little bit. But yeah, and I remember, my first computer I bought myself when I worked. My first phone I bought myself. Everything I wanted, I only got it when I actually was able to buy it myself. I remember I used to babysit when I was a teenager as well, sometimes. And there was this little boy, I used to drop him at his swimming classes. And I was like, oh, I really wish I could do swimming classes. They look so cool. And I only learned how to swim when I was an adult.
Oh, really?
When I was already in yachting. Oh, it wasn't even, I probably learned how to swim 5 years ago. What? And I'm still a terrible swimmer.
Wait, so anyone who's a yachty would know that you need to do your STCW to be able to be a yachty, which is a basic survival course, and you need to swim. How did you do that?
With my life jacket. They were really nice about it. But the worst in the STCW is jumping from the platform, because you need to jump in the swimming pool.
Scary.
That was
they
really
make you
scary.
Jump from really, really high.
Yeah. But I learned how to swim because I wanted my open water diving.
Oh.
So I learned how to swim so I could do that, because you have to swim 100 meters without a life jacket. and you have to float. So that's kind of the childhood I had. I didn't have much access to anything really. Obviously my mom did her best and I'm thankful for her every day, but for Lily, I want to make sure she's exposed to all kinds of sports, all kinds of music instruments. I want to make sure that she has everything that she needs to be successful in life, you know. I want to make sure that she has access to things that she can be like, oh, maybe I'm gonna be a guitar player, and then she can have classes for that, or maybe I'm gonna be a gymnast or whatever, and be able to.
I like how you say guitar and gymnast. Gymnast. That's really cute. I like that.
No, stop it. So I want her to have access to it, and that's why I want to make sure I finish uni, so I have, you know, a better job and able to provide all of that for her. I want to put her, because I wanted to swim so much, and I'm a terrible swimmer, the first class she's gonna have is swimming classes.
Oh.
And she's getting them from as soon as whenever we're allowed to have swimming classes again, because with 3 months you can have it as a baby. So as soon as we're allowed to have classes because of lockdown and everything, and she's over 3 months, I'm going to start doing it.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my God, I love seeing little bubbers when they're doing this little swimming classes and their little floaties.
I think my heart's going to explode. I don't even know how I'm going to deal with it.
Send plenty of footage to me, please.
Oh, yeah. I think I might have to do like a private Instagram just for baby pictures and like every half an hour post a new picture.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone loves seeing Lily, so it'd be a hit.
I know.
Yeah, that's totally different. I mean, I know that one of the questions I asked you when you did say you were pregnant, and you know, you were, how far along were you when you told me? I think you were in the second trimester at some stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, so are you going to go home? And you're like, no way. I'm in the best country in the world. I'm in Australia. I am staying here and I am pushing on with this. And I was like, that is awesome that, you know, you don't have, I'm so blessed. I have the support around me because this is the country that I was born in. My family are all here. And the reason that Benny and I are we're not living up north where he's from, we're living down south, is because my family is here. We have that option. But Dani, you're doing it solo, girl, and you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. Honestly, it is literally trying to do what is best for Lily, because if I had gone home, she would be a Brazilian citizen, and for her to come back with me, I would have to apply for a visa for her. But because she was born here and I'm a permanent resident, she's an Australian by birth. So that already is just a big advantage for her, you know, all the rights and everything that she's gonna have access here. So yeah, I'm still trying to keep hopes up that I'll bring my mom eventually.
I know.
So waiting for whenever that happens.
Oh yeah, that must be so hard. So your mom's only met her via FaceTime.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And that's her first grandchild as well.
Oh, that is crazy. This COVID world, like, I mean, it's affecting everyone in such massively varying ways, but such big ways. To not have been able to meet your first grandchild at 10 weeks, did you say she is? Yeah, that's not to never even be able to be there with you when you were going through labor as well. I mean,
I know
that would break a mother's heart.
And on a lighter note, this COVID is also going to raise a generation of socially awkward people.
I know. I went and saw my little nephew before we went into lockdown, and Benny came with me, and he is a lockdown baby. Australia had the longest lockdown, one of the longest lockdowns in the world. So he spent most of his first months of his life in lockdown with, like, his whole world was just this one household. And then Benny came over and he just cries and cries when he sees Benny because he's not used to seeing other people. He's like, no, the only men that exist in this little baby's life is his dad and his grandpa. And seeing another man, he's like, whoa, mind blown. Poor little thing. He chills out and it takes him a little bit, but he is a proper lockdown baby. He is scared of new people. It's like,
That's so sad.
I know. It's crazy. It's such a different way to be. I mean, compared to my niece who's 4 and she's so super social and super open to visitors, and she always has been. It's just like night and day.
Yeah, well, we could talk about babies and pregnancy forever.
I know,
but I think we're probably out of time now.
Thank you so much, Dani. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Alli. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you guys have any questions, write a comment on YouTube. Write a comment on YouTube. I was just trying to think where this podcast goes, and I don't think you can write comments there. But
you can write comments.
Message us on Instagram.
Yeah, on IG. We can get back to our IG messages and comments.
And also now we are available on Apple Podcasts, guys. Finally.
Yay! That was a journey.
That was a big journey.
That was a journey in itself. Speaking of big journeys.
Yep.
But no.
So you have no excuse not to listen to us now.
Exactly. Exactly. And we've got some really fun guests and fun topics coming up. We're going to have Daisy back again. So definitely keep an eye out for what we've got coming up. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.